So, hi everybody. Welcome to my new and improved attempt at being more interactive on here on YouTube this year. I hope you had a really good Christmas and a happy New Year. And so I wanted to try out using gouache this year, and I've been trying to use watercolor and I wasn't sure how that was working out for me in the way that I was using it, and I wanted something that, because I love acrylics, so for me I think that the gouache is kind of giving me what I want in the layering technique, but it's also still it's still thick enough and still giving me a little bit of what I want basically. So I'm just going to go straight ahead and start. So here I've taped off um, is it a 9 by 12? I think it's a, yeah, 9 by 12 inch piece of watercolor paper, 140 pounds, 300 grams, and I'm just going to get straight into this painting. So as I said before, just in a little test one that I did just a few moments ago, I have been working on these kind of characters using the gesso and working on eyes and different things. So I want to experiment with this today. So I'm thinking I will give this character some green eyes, and I'm going to go ahead and put that dot there. So what I've been doing is using dots of color and laying out what it is that I want to use. And then also writing the names underneath. Sometimes I'm starting to learn what the colors are because I'm really bad at doing that. I think the technical part of my art is what I'm going to kick into this year, of trying to really learn my colors, the names, the variations, the tonal qualities and things like that of them. So I'm just going to lay all these down. So that was sap green I just put after the pale green, and this is Viridian. And then I'm going to put, I think this is a green, medium green. So I've just been using dots of colors so that I'm not feeling like I'm wasting them. But also what I love about gouache is the fact of it drying hard and like watercolor, but it does it very quickly, and with these little dots, and I don't have to feel like I am basically using too much or anything like that. But I also love just the way they look. So I could have just colored, I mean, you know, put water on this whole thing, which I haven't done, but I'm just being random here. I think I have an artistic license thing with myself where if I feel I make a mistake, I'm like, well, I can always correct it. So I don't really stress too much about it. But what I'm going to do here first is use color on the eyes. So I'm just going to wet my brush and then go straight in with the lightest. I'm going to start from the lightest, well, what my eyes tell me is the lightest, to the darkest. So what I do is I've kind of decided if the eye, for example, starts kind of mostly, it's like a 2/3, or well, not 2/3, but almost half, but not quite. And I kind of start from the outside here. So I'm going to put some more water in that and just get it to be a bit more liquidy. So I start from the outside, a bit more water in that. I think I'm going to use the medium green next, and just then kind of go beside that one, beside the pale green. And I'm trying to get as much water in this, but not too much that it floods everywhere. And go for the sap green and put that in somewhere like here. And then also another thing that I've been doing is like the hair color and the eyes. I've been kind of translating the two of them together. So if I don't want to waste what is on my brush right now, I'm just going to go straight in and start putting that on some areas of her hair. Just spreading that around and getting in some areas, and then adding a bit more water so that it's a bit more blended. The brushes. So already I'm getting her hair filled in just by that then I would use the next darkest green, which is the Viridian probably. Because I didn't write these down, I can't really see which one was which. I think that was the Viridian. So I'm going to go ahead and use that, say maybe up here. So you can see the variation a little bit. Don't know how clear this is on YouTube, but this is what I've been doing with my gouache. And then, like I said before, I can start putting those colors in to her hair, and I'm not thinking too much about it. I'm just throwing it in and seeing how I feel about that. Then the next one, and so also what happens is as this gets darker and more, you can see me putting some in the mouth there. I'm going to go in here and put some in here. The darkest ones I put in these shadow areas. Just bring some more water in to get some more movement, and start building some other areas with these. So this is what I've been doing with my characters, is bringing in the colors into their hair. Usually most of my characters, their hair are mainly black, but I thought, let's try this. So I've been experimenting quite a bit and bringing in the colors in their eyes a little bit, and just to see what that looks like. So it's just to keep going back using different tonal levels of the colors in the hair. I'm bringing in lighter parts and building it like that. And then areas that I think there's going to be shadow, I'm kind of making those bits a bit darker. Go around the face here and her shoulder, so I'm making it a bit darker, and then just using some water, and I just love the way that it layers with gesso. It's still giving me quite a bit of detail in her hair, and I've been experimenting with more water, less water, trying to see what ones I like where. I'm trying to balance the colors out on either side as well. So if I think one side has got not as much of the sap green, I'll move that over to the other side. So I could use a smaller brush for this as well, but you can see the eyes there, and I want to leave those alone so that they can start actually drying. So I've just put a little bit of a green in her nose there, and I'm going to just take some off, because what I've learned as well, which I tried to learn with watercolor, was that it can, any tones you get on your brush will stick. It's as simple as that. And so it's trying to remind myself that when I put the different tones on, it's going to cause a reaction on some level on the character's face. So I'm going to use yellow ochre and start on a skin tone. And once I have the skin tone down a little bit and I've darkened it a little bit, I've been using the burnt umber a lot actually, so I'm going to just put these different colors in here and touch them lightly. I could have put them across that, but I don't want to make a mess, but I've been very comfortable in just using colors like that, because I'm thinking of what to do with the background. I'm being very careful here, so you can always wet the characters you know, the paper first before doing this, but I'm very random, and I just love the way that you can go back with the gesso and still reactivate it as well. I'm trying to remember if you can do that with watercolor. I can't remember, which is really bad, but I think you could get it on some level. But with gesso, if it's thick, it can still, I mean with gouache, if it's thick, it can still always kind of thin out some more, which is what I like. So I'm just going in here and adding more water and just getting the skin tone maybe a little bit to where I want to get it. So the bits that are shadowy, I'm just adding a bit more shadow. And her nose. Under the lips there's usually a bit of shadow, so I've just put that there, but I will just take some of that away. I like her nose. I could try and get her nose, all of her face to that level of her nose there, but so I'm just trying to think where I should be adding this. I know that the eyes, I want some shadows in their eyes. Just looking at the light reflections and stuff. So here, this is all very dry, so I'm just going to add some. I should be probably putting some clothes on them. So I'm just going to put a little line here, just to kind of say that that's going to go into her, some kind of clothing there. Which I could just add now, just because I love my bright colors. I should probably save that, and I'm trying to think. I might put some blue here, and I'll start with like a really light turquoisey blue. Let's put that over here as well. Cerulean blue, actually, this is. So I've wet this quite a bit, so I'm just gonna drop this in. And I can add some of this to her eyes as well, because this is what I'm saying I have been doing, is just really going gently in, trying to get the kind of layers I get in my digital work, and going with that. So I added that. I'm going to add some cobalt blue. Another thing I'm learning is adding the colors in, you know, the similar colors in together, which I never used to do as well. So that's a thing I'm doing now. So as I said, learning at every point, and then just going with that. So I'm starting to add more contrast in my work, or more texture, I'd say, in the way I'm doing it. I just really love the way the gouache works. I don't think I'm going to get that naming right. Just always have gesso in my head. I think I use a lot of gessos. So the eyes, like I said, I've added some other colors here. So this is ultramarine blue that I'm going to add again towards the end here. So these are things I never used to do, of having the variety of colors and mixing them in so that I could kind of get the kind of variation that I wanted. It's been really good to be able to experiment with this a bit more. And you can always add those colors in our eyes as well, trying to be subtle a little bit. I'll blend. I will add some more green again into other areas, into her hair. So we can come back into her hair and start going back and adding some more lines. Trying to see if I should get a smaller brush. Just use the very tip of this. Going in with Viridian Green. Might add some more of my colors. And just building on what she looks like. So I could go in and do some of the backgrounds, then come back and do, actually I might add the pinks. So I am going to go and add the pinks, maybe actually after some more of the browns, because I need to get a bit more shadow maybe in some areas. And if I think it's too much, I will pull it back. So I'm going to use some of that still and put them in other areas if I think that's too much. And you can do this and actually dab it if you think it's too much. So just, and then it gives the layering as well, which I love. So I'm going to add some of the ochre instead. And I'll probably take some away again. So it's just building the layers and So I actually like that. It might feel too much, so I might take some away. So I'm just kind of using my brush, drying it and soaking it up. I'm still not sure about this paper because it feels like it can kind of tear a little bit, and I don't really like that. I have used different reds in the girls that I've been creating, but I'm gonna use this pink. I like bright colors. Trying to hold back from using too many of them. So I'll just put a little bit of water on this. I'm going to test it out first. It's quite dark. So I'm going to put some on her nose here, and I can pull some back if I think it's too much. So I'm kind of putting some around and seeing what it looks like. Probably use some of this again, take some off, move it around. Sometimes there's like a bit of a blush up there. So the layering is beginning where I'm adding the pinks. And I think it is a thing of testing it before I drop it in. And then I could wait for this to dry and then do another layer. I'm just going to put a bit more in there. So I love my pinks. So there you go. And it's not on the shoulders. Some of them I had before where I did the shoulders, and I just basically left a lot of pink. So you can dab some back. And so you can see her there already. I'm going to put some more green, and then I am going to try working on the background. What I can do for some of this, because I want it to get darker, I could use some other colors. I might use another green or blue, some of the blues maybe, but we'll see. I might use another brush actually. Put this one down. Got all my other brushes hiding in here. Next one. I've used some thinner brushes than this, but let's see how I go. Got tissues everywhere here. Actually, I want to make some bigger headway here, so I'm going to put very dark green in here. Some darker strokes just to get that shadow in. Yeah, some of the areas are shadow actually. And some of it I'm just putting in big swathes of brush strokes because and then more detail will be put in with some smaller brushes. Her eye, that's there, and I think. Oops, daughter's calling me. So, just a minute. Yeah, it's only 2 each, right? Right, so, where am I? Right, so I'm going to add some more here to make it a bit darker. Because I was trying to avoid using the black as well. Because I just wanted to see what it looks like if I can build other colors around my characters other than black. I just felt it was too dark. I know people use the Payne's Grey as well, which is pretty cool, but I just really wanted to cut back on black quite a bit. So here I'm getting darker now, and that is quite dark. So I can always go in, move it around to different areas with the shadow. Under her nose it's going to have some of this shadow. So I'm taking some of that and moving it around if I think it's too much. It's going to have some shadow there. got little bits I'm seeing in here. I'm going to put just in their mouth here, some here for shadow, and just work in the detail really. Work in very random details that are bringing in something else. So I put a little bit of purple with some of the brown. Yeah. And then you can start having some more shadows. So this is building up the layers. As I'm saying of shadow, I mean, the more you keep going, it's just going to get more and more. And you just use more water. I don't want to get rid of all the colors. Up here on her nose, there is supposed to be a kind of definition of some sort. And so up here as well, there is a bit of shadow up here. So I think I'm going to go into the background after this and leave this alone for now, and then try and think of what to do with the background. And I want to be very light. There's always this conflict of working in the background first, coming to the front. I never know what to do, so that's just my reality. I never know what to do with that. I am basically going to go in and use up some of these blues I have here, and I'm trying to think, unless I want to add some of the yellows. Not really sure what to do about this. I might use some of the blues, but I don't want it to be all green. So that's another problem I'm having. So I have yellows and reds, and I think I will go with those, basically. I'll put some yellow somewhere here. Oh yeah, I can see a yellow already actually, so I might use that up. Let's get my brush out here. So you can see a yellow I'm going to go in to use. And then I'll use some of the reds as well that are around. So it's just starting to put them in. So I'm also trying to use the fact I've got these edges here to separate my picture, because usually I don't do the borders like with these maskings. I don't usually mask the edges, but I'm trying to be a bit more professional this year and raise my standards, and every year I guess you learn something else. You have new challenges, you don't ever stop. So I've put the yellow down. I'm thinking I could use other yellows and build that up. So I've got mid yellow here, which I'm going to put down. I'm trying to think which area I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to be quite erratic. From the edges again, but because when I'm thinking about my digital work, I have quite a lot of movement in my backgrounds. These will blend together, so I just really want to see what that looks like. So that's why I'm deliberately experimenting with that. So I've got some of that, and then I'm going to put another one. And I think I might use a smaller brush for this one, just to be a little different. So what I love with the gesso is it is like watercolor. I can come back and reuse the colors that are all dried around here again. So I'm just trying to remind myself that in my uh, digital work, I have a lot of patterns going on. Some of these I can always, like I said with the gouache, sorry if I've been calling it gesso still. Gouache, I can lighten it or wash it out a little bit, but I just want to, so that looks quite busy around her, but my work's usually like that, so I'm trying to learn how to put splashes and things, and I have some white ink here. I have some gesso, actual gesso that I'm thinking I want to add into my work at another time. I don't want to really risk it right now because I don't want to ruin what I'm actually doing right now. So I'm trying to just go around and smooth some of the immediate areas around her so that it's not as busy right immediately beside her, or something on the edges. And then, as always, if I thought that was still too much, I can always go over it with some napkins at the edges. So I just fold this, and if I thought that that was too much at the edges, just wipe it. Different areas. So this still looks quite bright, that little bit. I don't want anything that's going to distract too much from my character, so just dab it back a bit. So it is the building the layers and working on it. So here I would still put a little bit more pink for her nose areas and stuff. I just wish I could zoom a bit more with this, but I can't really zoom. And her lips, just getting in different things, because I want her cheek to flow a little bit more. Kind of just some more water. And then, so it's just going to be a constant battle with his cheeks. So just do layer after layer until you feel like it's actually okay. Putting in the color, taking it back. I'm just constantly working on that. Around her eyes, still kind of going in and trying to get some more detail. And here, and then I think I want to do her hair again a little bit more, because just going back and forth. I'm trying to blend and balance everything out. It's too dry. I'm trying to be careful not to get the balance wrong. And on top of all of this, actually, I have a pen. Once her eyes dry, I have a pen I can use on her eyes. And so yeah, it's just adding color. I think I should. This is very, making this a bit darker here. Yeah, so once this dries, I will put some of the white on. I have ink, but I wanted to probably use this pen I have here, which is a kind of a, what is this, a uni paint marker. So I've been using this, or I have my Posca pen as well actually that I could use to kind of make the reflections in the eye. So there's that one. Or I also have this white Supercolor permanent type ink, but yeah, they're very, very strong pens. And then I also have like this ink, acrylic ink, which I got, which I've not used yet. So the kids are still on holiday. They're back to school on Monday, so I thought I would do a quick kind of session just to show you some of the work that I've been doing recently. I've been very quiet on YouTube, but I am finding that sometimes if I'm wanting to be creative and just to work spontaneously, by the time I have to set all this stuff up, it's quite off-putting. So yeah, I've been getting new equipment as well. Also with these gouache paintings, I have been using layers. Once I've done like most of this, I've been using layers of clear, smooth gesso ground. So I'm still trying to see if I can get a layering effect. I have one here that I put quite a few layers on, and it feels like the gesso is still okay on it. I can just find it. Because what I've been doing is painting on the back of these as well as the front, so I'm trying to really use up all of my papers. Let's just say that. Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Right. So this was the one I did with the gluing this down, the papers, you know, the old vintage papers, and so I put quite a few layers of gesso, clear gesso on that, and it didn't feel like it lost its traction. And then I've kind of gone on and painted some more, and then put another layer on and just smoothed it on with my hands. But this is still quite wet, so I don't want to do that. I could always go in here and put details of flowers and things on her top, her hair, still going in and using a smaller brush. I'm still looking for where my smaller brushes are, but still just putting details of green in her hair and just building up the layers, basically. That's what's going on here. That's what would be going on next. It's just kind of getting the actual layers and then of different colors in there. So, and it washes and it would just keep building. Making this darker still in here. So I'm really enjoying how the gesso is building and building, and you know, like the eyes are getting darker and darker, and colors, the hair. It's another green. So the more that I'm putting on, it's getting, and then the strokes as well. I have to think about the strokes because that helps to send the hair in a specific direction. But yeah, pulling it all together so that the whole hair is in. So this is me using this particular green, but you can go in and use other greens as well. So I'm doing this because I want to be able to see more of the hair. So you can see she'll just get more and more, she'll get sharper or distinct, more and more distinct, that's the word. You could go in there and put some blues, that would bring in a different kind of a green, but around her face to kind of make her face a bit more stand outy. We'd probably make it a lot darker. So you can see how that's going there. And just add in and add in. And trying to give the impression of strands, hair strands in the hair. And then also to try and show where the hair is. So you'd kind of make the edges a lot more pronounced. And just keep working on that. So what I want to do next, in case those, let's see, should I use my ink? Oh, I'm so scared because I've not used this. I'm trying to find somewhere to actually put the ink to use it. I actually have quite a lot of different kinds of inks that I've been trying recently. Right, if I do a little dot here, I seem to be doing everything on the actual frame. I should not be doing that, but anyway, so I'm gonna clean this little brush and see if this works, because I don't usually do this. So I'm using the ink and just doing a dot there and a dot there. So you can see the difference already. And usually I would do a line, basically, but I've been doing these little squares recently just to have something different. So a little bit, I love my ink, that ink looks really good. And maybe some through her hair. Well, actually no, let's do her nose. It's a little bit of a descriptive thing that I do. Some through her lips, and I'm gonna actually dab this bit because it's too prominent. I might go over that with some more. No, that's okay, I think. And then maybe some through her hair just to show some distinct areas, but you could always use a thinner brush. I'm trying to use the tips of this brush. That wasn't very wavy, was it? Oh, okay. And just trying to drag some of this through, and then you can go back with the watercolor again, I mean the gouache, and do some more. But I mean, you could always do this towards the end of your painting. Doesn't have to be near the beginning. Also on these sides you could add, if you made them a bit, you know, painted them and they were a bit funny and you didn't like it, you could always do that. You can add some more to these areas here to lighten them up. I'll just do a couple more strands. You could always do splashes in the background with these inks. I think that's what I wanted to do. I'll leave it here, isn't it? I'm trying to think what else. I mean, you could probably put some designs on her dress as well. I was trying to think what else. So I've done her hair and her face and her eyes. And I think that's mostly it. I was going to say there's other things I could have added to this actually. I have these Lumiere inks, acrylic inks, and lots of beautiful colors, which we could have designed something there. I could have used these in her eyes actually. Let's see, blue, pearlescent blue. So many things I could do with this. It's ridiculous, right? I think I have a green. This one, some green, so greeny blue. This purples. There's a lot of different things I could do with these. My brush there. This is a blue gold color. You could have added, actually let's add the turquoise to her eye. Slightly, a little bit. So this is kind of extra that I could have done. Don't know if it's going to mess this up. Do it, do it, do it. No, I'm not going to do it. I think I'll experiment with this another time. Am I cowardly? Probably. But yeah, I've got other things I could have used, but I don't want to spoil this little character. I can see different things I could play around with. And it just gives a luminosity, a kind of a glowy, shiny, sparkly colour. So I don't want to spoil this, so I will leave this as it is, and I will come back to you with another session to use the gouache, and I can't wait to peel this off. I have found out that, actually maybe I should try doing it now, but I heard also somewhere else that if it tries not to come off, you could use, it's tearing a little bit, but you could use also your hairdryer to warm it, to take it off, which is what I probably should have done instead of what I am doing. So I just wanted to see what it's like. Some Eager Beaver. Some areas are worse than others because I think I pressed on some areas a lot harder than I should have. Let's see. This just looks great. I love the way it looks. I don't understand why that lower part was so bad. But anyway, it looks great. I think I will not be, I think I'll be doing this a bit more often. So, oh. Yeah, so let's see if I can peel this off. If I can't, I'm fine because I am still trying to play and be a little lighthearted about this. But yeah, that's great. Wow, that looks really good. Oh my goodness. I need to do this a lot more. So yeah, thank you for joining me today, and I will see you guys again another day, and we'll enjoy some more gouache together. So bye. Bye.